We're here, and you know what I'm doing?
I don't know, actually.
Well, the world's just spiraling. The world's spiraling, but I'm just sitting here making mojitos. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles Lung. With me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jake Gloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I was right. It did sound better naturally than you saying it again the second time. that thing he said at the beginning, which I left in.
Yeah.
He said that naturally before about an a related topic. But
yeah, the world's spiraling.
This pitch and such.
No.
And I was like, oh, that sounds great. I wish we were recording when you said that.
Yeah.
And then you decided to say it again.
I said it again, and it didn't sound as good because it wasn't off the cuff.
It sounded cool before, and then it sounded lame when you just said it now.
Okay, fair enough. So my pitch this week, all right? This is, totally original idea that I've had, right? Imagine, if you will, 5 millionaires, okay? Millionaires and billionaires go down into the depths of the ocean inside of a very, very small, contained submarine-like device. But it's not a submarine because it's, really, really bad. And then because it's such a bad device, all of the, machines and mechanics stop working and they get stuck at the bottom of the ocean. And then the world above loses its absolute fucking mind. And it's very sad. What do you think? Is that a good idea for a pitch for a TV show?
I don't really want to make, light of people that are just died, but, we could also do my super light happy show.
Wait,
that I have.
What? This is
cartoon.
I just came up with this yesterday. What are you talking about? Nobody's dead.
I mean, yeah, it might be a little too...
A little too recent.
Nose.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe if you
what if we
made
put it
in
in space?
The sky, then people
yeah.
in space. It might make people feel like, oh, maybe something different. And
Yeah.
instead of being instead of being millionaires, they're billionaires. I don't actually know if they were what they were. And then maybe I don't know.
They all get saved at the end by NASA, by the world coming together and helping, and all the poor
or
people.
instead they're all poor people, and no one comes to save them.
No one cares. No one gives a single shit, and they die in space. Yeah, and they get...
That's cool. I would die in space.
Yeah. I mean, if I got to choose where I died, space would be probably, number 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I'd probably be number 2. Number 1, obviously, is the male fantasy of dying guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
With a horde of random things coming at you.
Yeah, like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Well, actually,
Yeah.
I'll say space is number 3. Number 1 is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Number 2 is what Tyrion Lannister says when they're like, "How do you want to die, dwarf?"
Yeah.
And he says, "At the age of 80, with a wine in my belly and a girl's mouth around my cock," or whatever. That's number 2 for me, and then space is number 3. And then 4 is surrounded by family and people and loved ones and stuff and stupid shit like that, whatever. But space.
Number 1, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah. Are you
That's
Butch?
the best way to go down.
Are you Butch Cassidy or am I Butch Cassidy? Which one of us is the Sundance Kid?
I feel like I'm the Sundance Kid and you're Butch Cassidy.
Okay.
Because if anything, because Sundance Kid has a lot of sort of snark in everything that Butch says.
Yeah.
Right.
That is true.
And that's kind of our relationship.
Mm-hmm. And you don't know how to swim, so that's something.
That's true.
And I've never killed anyone, so those are our two.
Those are 2 things, and I've killed several people. So
dozens. I've watched you do it mostly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
LA is crazy. All right, Jake, you have a pitch for us today, for us being me and the listeners, or is it just?
Yeah. I do, fortunately, because I don't know if that submarine idea would really, I might get sued or something.
Yeah, that's 4 minutes. We usually go for about an hour, so.
Yeah, it didn't really spring us long enough.
No.
This is my penance for my long episode previously.
Okay.
About a very disgusting, violent topic.
A fantastic
so
episode.
This is a much shorter episode, or much shorter show with a much lighter, happier, fun topic. This is a cartoon.
Oh.
The show's called Solarpunk, which is, I just stole the name of the art. I don't know if you've seen Solarpunk art before.
I have. I have
Essentially,
seen
it's very like, I'll explain for everyone else since you know what it is. But it's it's like an imagined future of like humanity and agriculture sort of working in tune with machines. So it's like, imagine big, like everyone lives on very sustainable farms with like everyone wears farmer outfits, and there's robots all over the place helping farm, but they're all sort of like friendly, sort of like Star Wars looking robots, nothing too scary looking.
Yeah, nothing, no Boston Dynamics or Terminator robots. It's all like C-3POs and stuff.
The whole landscape is very verdant and overgrown, and there's tons of food for everyone, sort of like Garden of Eden stuff with machines and a little bit of futurism in it.
It's like Cyberpunk, but you replace corporate dystopia with environmentalism.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So like the summary of the idea is it's a group of kids living in a green future where they explore ruins, fight robots and strange creatures, and go on wild adventures. Ages like 10 to 11.
Yeah.
The kids.
And the audience, I assume. The target audience is 10. Well, not just 10 to 11, because that's a pretty small target audience. Maybe 8 to like 15.
I wrote this after I watched a Wes Anderson movie, so I thought that I would do it in like a Wes Anderson style, with the sort of not the characters aren't like Wes Anderson characters, they're not all very blunt and the way Wes Anderson characters are. It's just like the way it's shot and the sort of colors.
Yeah, very colorful, very pastel, symmetrical. And a lot of shots, but not always.
Kind of silly camera movements that highlight the sort of ridiculousness of what the kids are doing.
Yeah.
And the disappointment of their parents.
I was going to say, there aren't a lot of robot fights in Wes Anderson movies, but there should be more.
There should be. There really should be.
Yeah. Can you imagine Wes Anderson's The Terminator? That would be incredible.
It would be good. So very, verdant, overgrown future landscape. I wrote here, think of like the Welsh countryside mixed with the Shire, mixed with Wes Anderson and Mark Twain.
Okay. Ooh.
That's sort of the idea.
A little Twain in
Mark
there.
Twain as in like, Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer.
Oh, I was thinking of Mark Twain
like,
as in he looks like Colonel Sanders. Mark Twain. That sort of thing.
Nah, it's sort of like the very country landscapes. It's set in Baltimore. Like that. Boom.
Whoa.
But the city is under several feet of dirt. So this is like way, way in the future, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much dirt that has covered Baltimore that only the tops of buildings poke through the ground. So the street level was, fucking 10 stories below.
Yeah.
And only the tops of tall buildings poke through. So Natty Bo's eye is there.
That's fun.
The very top of the Trans-American Tower, Bank of America building.
Maybe the
Seasons.
Domino Sugars, right? You see like the D or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just a couple things poking out. So we got that kind of like sort of retro kind of like feel to it maybe, because we got these like sort of neon signs that are just poking through the bottom. But they don't work any more.
But maybe like the solar punk culture, they've like built, sort of things around these signs. Maybe they're like religious sites, or maybe they're like the place where like a market is or something. So you have the
I was thinking we have like in the top floor of the Trans-American Tower, which pokes through, is we have like the farmer's market or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be fun. Everyone wears like overalls and farming clothes. Cool hats, a lot of cool hats.
Lots of cool hats, straw
Hats
sticking out of
very
everyone's
underrated
mouth.
in our culture today, and
Yeah.
I feel like we need to bring hats back.
Bring back the hat culture. Men should have to wear hats everywhere, I think, and
I
women
think we should all wear hats all the time.
all the time.
There's so many cool hats that we can't wear anymore.
Yeah,
It's tragic.
Fez, the coolest of
If you wear a
hats.
hat, you look like a loser. Like, I'm not gonna wear a hat because I'll be a loser.
I did
I
just
wanna
buy
wear a hat,
I bought 2 hats within the last like 3 days.
Well, you are in fact a loser.
That is
so
true.
It's okay for you to do it.
Yeah.
I got my baseball cap. That's all I'm legally allowed to wear. Who are we following, Charlie? Well, we've got a couple kids here. Saw, He's the overconfident, adventure-seeking leader. He's the Butch Cassidy, essentially.
Okay.
On this Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid rant.
We were just talking about that, yeah.
He says where they're going, and isn't afraid of a little danger, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of likes it.
He's a little adventurous,
He's
reckless.
got clean-cut brown hair. He's the kind of kid who loves Vikings.
Oh, okay.
So he doesn't really know Vikings existed, but if they did, he'd like Vikings. He likes the idea of going someplace, getting a bunch of stuff, and leaving. You know?
Yeah. Finding new lands, adventuring.
If he was born in our time, he would be all about Vikings. He'd wear Viking helmets. He'd have a Viking.
He'd be one of those guys. Yeah, he'd be one of those guys who, like, if you dress up as a Viking for Halloween and you wear a horned helmet, he'd be like, actually, Vikings didn't wear horned helmets?
Well, he wouldn't be, like, this is a kid, so, a kid wouldn't really understand anything.
Yeah, but still, that's who I'm imagining him as.
That's who you're imagining. He'd be like,
one of those guys.
He's not a history nerd,
Yeah.
We'll get to the nerd in a second.
The nerd.
Then we have Huck. Huck is the yes man. Whatever you say, Huck will agree to. Perfect friend and compliment to Saul. So Saul and Huck are like the two, they're the best friends of the group. There's always a best friend pair in a group,
Of course,
closer than anyone else. They live right next to each other in this, town that's in Baltimore now. So that's why. Huck's up for anything and loves getting to a scrap. He just loves getting messy. He's the son of a farmer, so he's fine with getting dirty. He likes it. He likes to have fun in the mud.
He likes
he's
wrestling
the kind of kid
pigs.
who loves knights. So he would be a fan of knights if he was in our time. He'd love King Arthur and all that kind of stuff.
Chivalry and such.
He's got wild, long, blonde hair.
I'm imagining Huck as having like a chipped, one of his front tooth is chipped. And so everything he has got like a high-pitched noise to it, like he's got a bit of a lisp. But it's just a, big chip out of his front tooth that he got from wrestling hogs or, whatever adventurous, dirty thing he got up to. Dirty in the sense of like dirt.
Probably somehow Saul's fault.
Yeah. Saul dared him that he couldn't, pick up the largest pig in town and hold him over his head for 3 seconds. And he held him over his head for 2.5 seconds and dropped him and chipped his tooth.
Yeah. Smacked him in the head.
Yeah.
On the table, chipped his tooth.
Bing, bang, bosh.
Then we have Petal. Petal is Saul's younger sister. So they're all like 10 to 11. So she's like 8, 9.
Okay. Yeah.
She's not that much younger, not way younger. She's like the seemingly lovable and innocent, she can look at you with the big eyes and you'll do whatever she says because she's just like this cute little kid. But she's extremely devious and conniving, very much like her brother, but little, and has this sort of adorable side too that she can use to her advantage.
She's mischievous.
Next we got Lug.
Lug.
What do you think Lug's like with a name like that?
I think he's not the brightest bulb, but I think he's got a heart of gold.
Exactly. He's a big oaf idiot, but kind. I imagine him like Bizarro in the Red Hood and the Outlaw comics.
Okay. Yeah.
No one got that besides you, probably.
I did.
But
I
anyway,
did, and the guy who wrote those
guy
comics
likes to pick flowers and stuff.
I think it would be good if he was like 2 years older than the rest of them. If he was like 13. And he was just like this huge kid, and everyone his age was like, he's such a fucking moron. But Saw and Huck and everyone else are just like, he's fine. He's our muscle.
Yeah. He's only a little bit dumber than us.
Yeah, it's fine.
So it's all right. 2 more kids I got here. Robin. Robin is she hates Saw. Absolutely hates Saw.
Yeah.
But really hangs out with the group because she has a crush on Huck.
Oh, okay.
She's sort of the opposite of Saul. She's very cautious and strategic rather than rash and bold like Saul is. She's the only book smart person in the group, and in fact, only one of the only book smart people at all because she's one of the only people that reads books in this town besides her parents. So, not a lot of people read.
They don't. Do they not know how, or are they just like, it's lame? We can go hog wrestling. Why do we want to read a book?
I don't really need to, They don't really have a lot of books. Books are kind of rare.
Okay. So are
as
these...
you'll see in our first episode.
I have a question about this world. So are the robots, like, are they building new robots, or is this like the robots have been around so long that they've just become integrated into society?
So everyone, it's kind of like, the farm in A New Hope, where they have like, they really only have R2-D2 and C-3PO. They have 2 robots, that they bought from a trader passing through.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works, is like traders will pass through who've like scavenged robots and put them together.
Mm-hmm.
And you buy it from them, maybe trade them food or something, and then you have a robot.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody's like constructing new robots in a factory. They're like rebuilding them from the scraps of the old world.
Okay, that makes sense.
It was very much like an apocalypse that happened, and this is like many centuries after.
Yeah. And people have just
like rebuilding the world.
Lived, and the world's, whether it was an environmental or man-made apocalypse, it's like all of the bad stuff has subsided, and now it's this verdant, green, beautiful wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so Robin got her down. Next we have the girl. The girl changes her name every episode, so that's why I just put her down as the girl.
Okay, good.
She is a year or 2 older than everyone else, so she's like 12, 13.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, like, the reason she's older is, or the important part about that is that she's, faster and stronger than everyone else, all the other kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
The boys haven't gone through puberty, they don't have any testosterone.
Yeah,
they don't have any muscle.
They don't know what's going on. They're just little skinny kids.
She's older. She's faster than them. She's the Belloc. Belloc being the French villain in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay, I was like, is that a Sherlock Holmes guy? Is that a... I couldn't remember who Belloc was. I was like, huh? Is that a...
No one knows who Belloc is. His name's not really important.
Yeah, he ate a fly in the movie.
But I mean, when I say she's Belloc, I don't mean she's like him in any way, besides the fact that she's the menace to Saw's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
She's the one that, like, he'll go into some place with, his friends, and he'll take something, and at the last second she'll grab it and leave.
Yeah, she's always one step ahead. Saul is getting everyone to, like, investigate some ruins. Meanwhile, we find out at the end of the episode she's reprogrammed the robots that live in the ruins to do her bidding, and so she's got run of the place. And they're just like, we lost all our treasure. Dun da 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 da, but they walk off, and she's jealous because she wants friends. But she's like, but I love gold more than friends.
Gold.
I love gold, or the Ark of the Covenant more than friends.
Yeah, well, she doesn't really, like, connected with the group. Well, I guess I'll explain this, because she's, like, her parents are wandering traders. They're the,
okay.
like the Jawas in A New Hope, except they're not, they're people.
The regular people. They don't eat a big egg, big hairy egg.
They're the ones that scavenge robots and rebuild them and sell them to people.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's, like, kind of always in the area, but she doesn't live in their town.
Yeah, okay.
And so that's why she's not really friends with their group.
Maybe she's got a robot companion. Some sort of, like, an old world, like, those robot dogs that you got.
Okay, that actually works perfect. She should have a robot dog.
Yeah, she, like, retrofitted one of those, like, toy robot dogs to where it's an actual robot dog that, like, follows her around and shit.
Yeah, that'd be neat. It's like an old Boston Dynamics robot.
Yeah. And
that she like also used parts of, like, an old robot dog. It's like combined together.
And it's got a face and it's got the ears that waggle, but it's, a Boston Dynamics, like, murder robot dog.
Yeah, it's got the legs,
Yeah, it's go climb up
those
hills.
Things aren't murdering.
They're not murdering yet.
Yet. Speaking of robots, we've got Bolo. Bolo is a farming robot. He's Huck's farming robot. Who occasionally joins on adventures.
Okay.
But also tends to farm with Huck's parents.
Okay.
Bolo, I don't really know how he should look, to be honest. I was thinking humanoid.
When you said that name, I imagined he was like this big cylinder, and he had, like, those weather vane things that spin to, like, gather information about the speed of weather and shit, like the speed of wind and such. He has one of those that just is, like, huge on his head, and it spins around all the time. And so whenever he goes on adventures, they just, like, hang shit on him. Like, he's the he's the like the pack mule, but he's like got a you know, smiley face drawn on his you know, faceplate. And he's just like, yes, of course. I'd love to help, Huck. I'm your friend. That's me. And he could play by you.
Yep, I'm Bolo.
You're Bolo.
Bolo the robot.
You're Bolo the robot. I'm
You can be one of the parents. You can be
I was like, can I be a big snake?
Oh, you want to be okay.
I want to be a big snake.
You can be a big snake. All right. Or we could both be Bolo. Bolo could have 2 heads.
Oh yeah, that's good. He switches back and forth when he's like happy with something or sad with something. Like unhappy.
It's like he
with
has
something.
2 different computing chips in. One is for like farming, and one's for weather detection.
Okay, there you go.
I'm the farming one. You're the weather detection one.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Doesn't matter.
And I interrupt you in the middle of like the cows are coming in. It's raining. The cows are coming in
raining.
nice today.
The cow.
It's raining.
It's arguing back and forth. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Bolo
the whole time.
Robot.
Yeah.
The parents aren't really important, but I'll tell you what they all do. Huck's parents are farmers, as I already said. Saws are carpenters. Robins manage the town's storehouse. So that, you know, they got the books in there. So that's why. She's always reading books. It's kind of her hangout place, you know, in the halls of the storehouse. And the girls are wandering traders who travel the area.
Okay.
The parents, as I said, aren't really in the picture. This is about the kids. And I kind of want to imply that, like, the adventures the kids go on are very epic. And I want to kind of imply that they're not always real.
Yeah.
It's kind of imaginary.
It's a bit of a backyardigans
everything we
situation.
see, it looks cool. Yeah, it's kind of like backyardigans, where it's like, what's happening is not always real, but sometimes it is real.
Yeah.
So
sometimes it's Israel, and that's
so I don't know how
too.
how exactly we would do that. Like maybe, you know, they go and they have like swords or something when they're fighting robots, but then they get home and they're holding like little sticks and wrenches and stuff.
Or maybe we don't even like make it that obvious. Maybe it's just like they've got swords in the fun adventure, and then we cut, you know, they're running back home at the end of the day, and in the background we can see just like a bunch of sticks just sitting on the ground nearby something that looks vaguely like the monster they were fighting. But then also sometimes you get like Huck rides an enormous, you know, triple-headed cow monster into town, and everybody, like the whole village, is like, oh my god, this is insane, you know, and that's obviously real.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, the pilot. So the episode's called "The Quest for the Holy Grail." Opens with Saw and Huck going through a jungle cutting vines. So it's a very dense, thick jungle. You know, they got like machetes. They're cutting back and pulling back the vines. And they come to a cave, which is really just an old museum, which is mostly underground now.
Okay, cool.
It's like, you know, been covered and everything. And they enter, and like the electricity's still working. There's like some wires on the floor, and there's water, and it's like there's an electric floor. And Saul's like, oh no, we need to swing over. And so they like they grab a vine, and they, you know, swing it over some of the rafters, and they, you know, fly over the
they swing across
the electric
pond.
floor. You know,
Yeah.
very, very exciting stuff right here. Then there's some more traps. We have a tripwire, which was really just like a display rope that was, you know, sort of around a bunch of medieval weapons, and it causes them all to fall on them, and Saul has to dive in and save Huck.
They dive
because all the medieval weapons are about to fall on them because it's a museum.
And we can do that
it's
classic gag where like one of the swords, you know, nearly misses him, or nearly hits him, but it goes like right in between his legs, and he's just like, phew.
Yeah.
That classic gag.
Classic.
And then they roll out of the way, and it's like, maybe they go up to, you know, there's like a modern history section or something like that, and Saw takes off his hat, and he gets like an Indiana Jones style fedora, and he tries it on, and he's like, nah, he throws it.
Nah.
And it like gets pierced by something, another trap or something. They're like, oh.
Yeah, another trap, just boom, just like a spear, just goes straight through it. And maybe right after that, he sees a Viking helmet. He's like, yes, because he needs the Viking helmet for for the next part. So he grabs the Viking helmet, fitting his character, obviously.
Yeah.
And they go into a room of gold, and this is all like the really fancy, expensive artifacts, and everything looks amazing and cool. And there's like a thing that looks just like the object in Raiders, the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh yeah.
Like that sort of like gold thing on like a big pedestal, and they just walk right past it to the real prize, the gift shop. They go into the gift shop, and there on a magazine rack, one object sits alone, a comic about knights. And so they go up, they grab the comic, they're all excited. He carefully switches the comic and the Viking helmet, puts the Viking helmet where the comic was. Grab it, they're all excited, they start flipping through. And while he's flipping through, Saw spins around and he elbows the Viking helmet, and it falls down onto the floor and hits, bounces on the floor, bounces up, bounces under the table, hits the alarm for the gift shop, and like a blaring alarm goes off, and a load of rats and other random weird creatures sort of sprinting all through the floor. And so this is like the end of that opening scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where they have to run out.
Yeah.
And so they're sprinting out. There's all these weird, maybe like rats and other
big
biological
rats.
things that are creepy, but not totally scary because it's a kid's show.
It is a kid's show.
Definitely something you want to run away from.
Yeah, rats with big eyes, or maybe it's like a bug and it's got like human legs and it's just running real fast, or something goofy,
Yeah, some goofy's chasing them, monster-wise. And so they're running out. They get out, and they're like, "Oh God, that was we made it though. We got the comic." And they try to flip through it again because they want to see the cool pictures and such.
Yeah.
And just as they open the comic, a dog comes up and grabs it. A robot dog. Oh no! It's the girl who's this episode is Morgana. That's what the name she's given herself.
Oh, that's
her
name
fun. Thing switching is kind of like it's like she she's like sort of what Huck what Saul wants to be, which is like these adventure people. And so she's always giving herself new names every time. She's like reinventing herself.
Yeah.
And he kind of is jealous of that, but he can't do it because she does it. Like he wants to change his name every episode too. But so they're very similar, is what I'm pointing out.
Maybe she does she announce it, or do they just know?
Yeah,
that
she'll announce it every time. They're like,
Morgana.
"It's the girl," and she's like, "I am Morgana." I'm
reader of comic books.
Reader of comic books. She sort of laughs. This is all game to her, messing with them.
Yeah.
And they chase her through the woods, but she's older and faster.
Of course.
And she gets away, and they're like all sad because they're never going to get her, and they see her running away up this mountain, up this big hill in the Appalachians or something. And so they're like, oh damn, well she's gonna get away, nothing we can do about that.
God damn it.
And they go home, and they're they see their parents, and they go to Robin, and they tell her, or Huck goes to Robin, and he tells her what happens, and she's like, I could help you try to find her cave. It's mentioned in like the in this book of like there's a secret hoard of treasure up in that mountains, and maybe that's where she's hiding all of her stuff, right? Ooh. This old travel book that she bought from, or her parents got from the trader parents of the girl.
Yeah.
They're journaling their adventures around Maryland, essentially. And so like, oh, there's treasure cave up there. Maybe that's where she hid her stuff. She's like, well, she doesn't really want to help, but Huck seems sad about it, so that's why she was gonna help.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Maybe Saul.
She thinks she's dangerous. She doesn't want to do this thing.
Maybe she walks away, and Saul encourages Huck to kind of play up how sad he is, because Saw knows that she has a crush on Huck, but Huck doesn't know it yet. And so he's like, yeah, Huck, tell her just say how sad you are. Oh, I'm so sad. I was gonna go. I was so excited. I was probably gonna spend a lot of time in the store because I was gonna be translating this book, and then
reading, and there's great light in here to read.
Yeah, and she's like, he's gonna
comic.
spend time in the store. No, he can spend time with me in the store, and that's a whole thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then adventures.
And so then we they're going on the adventure now. As they're leaving, Lug is just like, I'll come too, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, you like, guys, wait up.
Can I go? I want to go.
I like caves.
And I don't know if Petal will come. I think Petal will be introduced in a later episode as sort of like the classic parents say, oh, you got to watch your sister, bring your sister along.
Yeah.
To Saul. So she probably won't be in this episode because you need to establish the friend group, and then later we'll introduce her as the annoying sister, that he has to bring along.
Exactly. There you go. So
they're on their way up the mountain, and at the top of the mountain is the old Natty Bow factory. So we get, if you're from Maryland, you realize maybe this isn't really a mountain. This is just some fantasy in the kids' eyes.
Maybe it's kind of a hill. A bit of a hill. Yeah.
It is a hill, but like in the kids' eyes in the show, it's a mountain. It's like this big trek that they have to go up.
We can do like a fun Lord of the Rings style like montage of travel across the Great Plains and all of the different like biomes that they're going to. But it's just a goofy joke.
Yeah. And so they get to a bridge. Over a big, a gorge, and on one side of the bridge is the night. Night as in, it's dark outside.
Yeah.
And night as in, warrior.
Yeah.
It's an old curfew robot from a forgotten time.
Yeah.
That is telling them it's bedtime. Because it's like, the evening or something. And they're like, no, it's not bedtime. Like, we're trying to get past. And it's like, every time they try to get close, it's trying to make them go to bed. It like grabs them and shoves them into a bed.
Maybe it wraps them, like swaddles them really, really tightly in a blanket, and they have to like be dragged back and like cut free of the blanket.
Yeah, maybe like Huck or maybe Lug. Like, he snaps the binds because he's a bigger kid, the binding, because it's all just like, little stuff, and then he has to help free the others.
Yeah.
And then they have to, sneak past the night.
I'm just, here's a fun little thing we can do. Maybe the night has a, oh, that's fun. I was just like, night. Like, if there was a curfew robot, that was commercially sold, it would be called a night. But that's fun. Maybe it has a security question, right? Like, that's like, what is your favorite color? And it just like, we just ask it really.
The next task is going to be a riddle, so I can't do that now.
Fair enough. That's fair, but I'm glad we were on the same wavelength.
So they get past the night. Maybe they fight it. Yeah, that's probably the best thing. They should have to fight it. So they break from the binds, and then they battle the night.
They keep chopping off limbs, and it keeps like talking about how it's fine.
Yeah, it's just like Monty Python. The whole show.
Exactly.
And so they defeat the night. And then maybe at the very end, it's still like crawling towards them. They're like, we don't know how to beat this thing, and Robin says something like, well, if it's bedtime, like, shouldn't you be going to bed? And the robot can't beat that logic, and so it turns itself off.
Good. Classic logical fallacies. That's what stops robots every time.
And then next we get to a bridge where there's like an agro robot, which is like a half plant, half robot thing. It's like the plant has like grown through it, and so it's like it's half of its intelligence is from this like plant creature, and half of it is from the robot's brain. And it's like, it's just, it's all about just cultivating carrots. And it's blocking this path, and it's the only way through. They're in like a valley now, so it's like a narrow. Like if they wanted to get out, they'd have to go all the way back and go around and up the cliff, and it'd be a lot of work, But there's a very narrow path they have to get through, and this agro robot is planting carrots, and it doesn't want them to trample the carrots. And they try to argue with it, and apparently the robot was originally like a like a quiz robot from one of those shows.
Oh, okay.
So it wants to ask them a question to get it past.
Yeah.
And it starts giving this really, really long riddle. So long that like it's gonna take minutes to say the whole thing. And Robin's like taking notes, trying to figure it out. And while she's doing this, Saul's like, "This is terrible. Like, how are we gonna? I hate this so much. This is the worst. This is not an adventure." And Huck's like, "Well, I don't know. Maybe we can sneak around it by that outlet over there." And Saul looks over at the outlet and sees the robot is just plugged into the wall.
Yeah.
And walks over and unplugs him.
Damn.
He just turns off and walks past.
There you go. That's great.
So they cross, and they find a cave with tons of treasure. This is the Natty Bow factory, and there's all this all this stuff stuffed in, all these it's like the gift shop at the bottom or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's where she has all of her stuff stored.
Oh, okay. All the keychains, all the comic books.
Mm-hmm. And so Saw has he grabs a sack and he's just taken everything.
Mm-hmm.
But at the front of the cave is an inscription that's from the girl, and it says "You've reached my secret lair. I give you permission to take one thing, but if you take more, you will be punished," or something.
Destroyed. Yeah.
And so Saw grabs a sack, obviously, because he's a Viking. He wants to take everything.
Wants to take it all.
And Huck is honorable. He just grabs the comic book.
Yeah, that's all he wants.
Because he's the fan of the knights.
He's a chivalry-bound man.
Robin doesn't really want anything because there's nothing interesting there.
Mm-hmm.
And Lug doesn't really think to grab anything.
He's just happy to be along. He's happy to carry the sack that Saw has.
Yeah, Saul fills the sack, hands it to Lug.
Yeah. Here. Thanks, buddy. You're welcome.
And so they start leaving and they're walking back, and the girl appears like Zorro, and she cuts an M into the sack, and everything pours out.
That's great.
And she somehow grabs it all. Her robot dog comes and scoops it all up.
Mm-hmm.
And Saul's like, "No, that was everything." And she has some very pithy line, and she's like, "Well, you took more than you should have. That's what you get." Maybe she punches him or something.
Yeah.
We need to put Saul in his place a little bit. I don't know. It shouldn't be a punch, but somehow she knocks him over or something.
She just kicks him right in the chest, right in the sternum.
He charges at her and she kicks him and he falls over.
Mm-hmm. Or she trips him. He charges over. She steps out of the way, trips him over. He falls face first into the mud.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I like that. And Huck, thinking that he's gonna get tripped next, just holds out the comic book and it's like, "You just take it. I don't want to fall over like you."
Yeah, that looks bad.
And she's like, "Nope, you can keep it because it's all you took." And he's like, "Oh, sweet."
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah.
Same episode of them walking back. We have a nice shot of the back of all of them, with their with the comic book, and they're all excited. They're going home from their
reading
for a
through
nice
the comic
adventure.
book, flipping through. Saw keeps trying to get a look, but Huck's hiding it from him because it's his. He took it, and everything Saw took got taken away.
Maybe Robin's up close to Huck, and they're going through the comic book, and she's pretending like she's interested.
Mm-hmm.
And Saul's he doesn't even care about the comic book right now. He's just all pouty because he got knocked in the mud, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And Lug's offering to help, is trying to help clean up his face. He's like, "Get off me! Just stop!
Stop it!
Let me."
You big lug. Yeah, it's me.
All right, that was the pilot.
Yeah.
I'll run through some episodes
That's
real
good.
quick.
That's fun. It's a fun, pithy pilot.
They travel to an old prep school, and they fight fantasy-style orc/robots. They're really robots, but in the view of the thing, they're going to be orcs.
Okay. Maybe they make it into
as they
the
try
robotics
to
lab.
destroy a lug nut in a what is the word for the thing where you fire the pots, the kiln?
A kiln? A kiln.
Kiln.
Yeah.
Kiln? Is it kiln?
It's a kiln.
I don't know. Where you make the pottery. That's where
the pottery place.
they want to throw a lug nut in there because earlier in the episode the lug nut has been giving the whole town bad luck.
Okay.
At least that's what they think. Whatever this lug nut is, if it's on the farm, it's crazy stuff's happening on the farm. The sprinkler systems are breaking.
They put it in the storage place, and then the storage gets raided by rats, and they come in and they eat all the grain. And it's a whole thing.
Yeah,
in
it's
this
a whole
lug nuts.
problem.
Big problem.
It's in the carpenter place. All the furniture's breaking somehow.
Yeah.
It's all like breakaway furniture.
And
So they're gonna destroy this is like, the Lord of the Rings. They're gonna destroy this lug nut in the fire from whence it came, except not, because it's the kill.
Maybe throughout the episode, Saw like develops an addiction to the lug nut because like maybe it gives him good luck and everyone else bad luck, and so he's like, I need it.
Oh my God.
You can't take it from me.
Yeah, and so we have like, the epic thing where they're going through the prep school, which may or may not be a school that we went to.
Maybe not.
Like, everyone else has fallen off throughout. Robin got distracted by the library. Lug
went to the weights room.
Lug,
and
maybe
he's
they
just
had to
loving
get
it.
up somewhere, and like Lug had to help them up.
Yeah, and he couldn't
but
get
he
up
himself couldn't get up.
Yeah,
but he could help them up. So Huck
and Saw are going, and
Saw are up there.
Huck keeps offering to carry the lug nut, but Saw's like, no, I've got it.
Saw's refusing, and so they get to the kill, and we have our Sam and Frodo moment where, Saw goes insane and is like, no, I shall keep the lug nut.
It shall be mine.
And Huck's like, no, you can't. No, like we're
so close.
We need to get rid of it.
We've sacrificed so much coming here. The whole afternoon. Sacrificed the whole afternoon to get to this point. You're throwing it all away. No.
Way. No. Yeah. He tries to leave with it, and they have a little scrap, and they're fighting. And,
yeah.
It just gets... It
and
flies off into the kill.
Maybe we earlier in the episode we tease like this. There's an robot orc thing. That's
so we have our Gollum.
Our Gollum thing, and it's like it's defective, and it keeps like trying. Maybe it has a sensor in its brain that's like, I have to get to the warmest possible place. Like that's its direct robotic purpose.
Oh, you know what? How about it's missing a lug nut, and it's like a repair robot.
Oh yeah.
And it needs the lug nut, and so it wants it, and it's been chasing them the whole time, and they've been fighting it back. And at the very end, it has its Gollum moment where they're scrapping on the floor, and it jumps for the lug nut, grabs it, and then falls into the kiln itself. And I'm thinking as soon as it and the thing land in the big oven, Saw just immediately is like, all right, let's go home.
Yeah,
and
all right.
Huck's like, yeah, okay.
That's over.
Like it was all just a game to them. Like they were just having fun.
Just having a good
It wasn't
time.
really demented.
Maybe he like has a physical transformation. His eyes like grow yellow and darker rings around them, and then as soon as Lugnut goes in, he's like, yeah, whatever. Okay. Oh, my eyes really hurt. I think I'm allergic to
poison ivy earlier.
Yeah, I'm like allergic to the pollen here or something, because this is ridiculous. All right, let's go home.
Yeah, he starts sniffling a bunch.
Yeah. Bing bang bosh.
Another episode idea: they take a train to New York, future New York, which is also mostly under hills. And while the parents trade and have fun, the kids explore an abandoned skyscraper. So in New York, they have maybe, because the buildings are taller, there's like 7 or so floors that are above ground.
Yeah.
And so they're like exploring an abandoned skyscraper, which quickly turns into a Judge Dredd style clear the building of robots.
I love that each episode's just
the
a
girl
movie. That's good.
Who seems to be trapped, right? So the girl seems to be trapped. Like they were going in and they see her, and a horde of robots come and they grab her. And Saul sees this and he's like, well, we gotta save, or maybe Huck sees this and he's like, we gotta save her. And Saul's like, I hate her. Why would we save her?
Yeah.
And eventually he gets convinced and they go down, try to get her. But she's actually just using the robots to get to an old store full of cassettes. They're like cleaning robots, and they're set. Their main central hub is on the bottom floor, which is also where this music shop is, like vinyl store or whatever. But they also sell cassettes, and cassettes are the only music, or like the only
thing that work
way they still play music anymore in this world.
Yeah.
Like they have cassette players. And so she finds this horde of cassette tapes. And so they go down there, they fight all these floors to get to her, showing all these cleaning robots that aren't really attacking them.
Yeah, they're just
but,
there.
They seem like they're attacking them in the show. They seem like they're, horrible. But, as after they find out the truth, though, the robots sort of look normal again. They're like, oh, these are we were just bashing.
Yeah, this normal robot.
This thing wasn't a spinning monster trying to, hit us. It was just
It was a vacuum cleaner.
it's just cleaning the floor.
It was a Roomba. Maybe they get helmets at some point, like there's like I don't know, some sort of interactive museum exhibit, and they're like, oh, look, police helmets, and they put on the helmets, and it covers everything except their, like, mouth and chin and stuff. Judge Dredd, very Judge Dredd style. Maybe they get, like, toy guns, like water pistols or something. And that's how they can, like, destroy the robots with the guns, is because, they don't do very well with water or whatever, or bleach or something.
Yeah.
Very Judge Dredd, very cool. They're like, go on without me.
Very
good. I am the law. What? That doesn't make... What? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know, it just sounded cool in my head.
Yeah.
Well, it was stupid, and you should think before you speak, Huck, okay? Because you're just making all of us to sound ridiculous by being associated with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just want to be part of the fun. Well, next time, think. Yeah. And then she gets all the cassettes, and they,
probably gives them, like, 2 to make, like, because they tried to save her, and she feels like, maybe I do owe them something.
Yeah.
So she gives them, I don't know, some kids would like.
Maybe she gives them, like, we could do, like, a goofy reference
to... A cool night soundtrack, maybe, or something.
I was thinking, like, cool you remember when U2 put that album on all the iPhones, and nobody wanted it?
That's the cassette they get?
That's the cassette they get, is that one U2 album that we can listen to. But everyone had...
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And they're like,
okay, I like that.
I already had this one. Okay, fine, thanks. What's her name in this episode? Janice.
I don't remember the name of the girl in Judge Dredd, but that would be her, like, his partner.
What's her name? I have a Judge Dredd.
I know the actress is like Olivia Thrillbilly or something like that.
There is a Judge Dredd comic book literally a few feet away from me. Anderson was her name.
Anderson. So that's her name in this episode.
Yeah. Is I, Anderson, protector and keeper of the musical history, or whatever.
Cassandra Anderson, that's her name.
Ah.
Okay, so yeah, she's Anderson this episode. Or Cassandra, that doesn't really matter, I guess. And so the next, I'm just gonna run through the next two real quick.
Yeah, of course.
Because we're running out of time here. So we've got, the next one is gonna be like a capture the flag sort of war episode, girls versus boys. So we've got the girl, Robin and Petal versus Saw, Huck, Lug, and Bolo. They're arguing that Bolo is a boy. Because he's a robot and his voice is a little deeper.
Maybe the weather robot is a boy, but the farming robot is a girl. And so it's Bolo secretly is
Bolo is constantly in between both of them, yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, switching teams constantly. And it's really of no use to either team. And so they set up like 2 castles, aka tree houses, but they look like castles. And they have a capture the flag match. Not really going to get into the details, but essentially the girls are about to win, but Robin betrays her team because she sees like Huck is sad, right? That he's about to lose. And so she's like, you know what, never mind, I'm going to go back with my team. And she starts running the other way at the flag, but they have Petal / the girl planned for that. They knew that she would eventually succumb to
her
like her
desires.
remorse. And would do this so that she has a decoy flag. Like they swap the flag at some point, and so they have the actual flag.
And so the girls win.
And,
but it's maybe the boys are celebrating because they're like, yeah, woo, and they give like a bunch of high fives and hugs to her because she betrayed her team. And then they're like, the girls are like, actually, ding, we win.
We won. And he's like, well, the flags look exactly the same, so how do we know that we didn't win? And the girl's like, oh shit, like, well, she doesn't say shit because it's a kid show. But like,
Dookie.
The flags look exactly the same. They had a perfect plan, right, to switch the flags, so they have the real flag, and so they actually won. But the decoy flag they made looks exactly like the real flag. So
too good a decoy.
It just seems like they both teams won.
And then they're both like they continue arguing as they walk home. That's the end of the episode. I'm assuming most of these the episodes are pretty much all ending with like the final shot being them walking back home, and we see like their silhouettes against the sunset. And it's just them in like a conversation or something happening between them, and they're arguing
or whatever.
Yeah,
pouting.
Yeah.
All right, my final episode idea is The Hobbit, essentially. It's a 3-part episode where they travel to D.C. to find a hoard of treasure hidden in the White House. Told tons of adventures on the way there and everything, but essentially the end is they get there, and it's just books.
It's just books.
It's the Library of Congress.
Ugh,
that's what they find.
They're all super bummed.
Except for Robin. Robin is ecstatic, loves it. And the girl and Saul are the most disappointed. So they get to have a moment. You know, they hate each other, but they have this moment where they're like, oh, you know, we're kind of the same person.
Yeah.
You know, we both just want adventure.
Maybe Saul. I've been thinking since you told me his name was Saul, there could be a funny thing where it's like, oh, I found something that's just like my name. Do you think they made this for me? And then he puts in the movie Saw, and then we don't show them any of it. We just show their faces get horrified. Like they're watching it, it's just like, turn it off. When's it gonna start being about me? Turn it off. And then, you know, cut to them funny. Just like 1,000-yard stare, just like,
yeah, sitting at like a counter drinking milk, and like, they're like it's whiskey. You know? Like, this is a hard day.
Smooth.
I don't think I'll ever forget what I saw. We have like a very like, you know, PTSD war veteran moment.
Exactly.
Like, it's like, you won't believe the things that I saw. Oh, you said the name again.
What are we gonna... We can never forget.
Never forget.
Yeah. That's good. All right. And what was this show called again?
Solarpunk.
Solarpunk. I like that a lot.
I just stole the name of the art,
but that's fine. We'll get some solarpunk artists to help do the show design, so they can't sue us.
Be cool. You know, probably be animated.
Probably be animated.
Neat show.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I think this sounds very fun and cool, and like it'd be a grand old time to watch. I'd watch it. I'd watch it with my kids.
Yeah.
I'd watch it with my little brother and sister.
The kids you have, yeah.
Yeah, all my children. All
12 of them.
Yeah. I get around, folks. Hit me up.
They're all adopted, though. So
yeah.
They're getting ideas from what he just said.
No, I am so in debt. It's bad.
Extremely in debt. I don't know how they keep accepting your adoption applications.
I just keep giving them. Really. I give them different names every time. Technically 6 of the kids are yours, but don't worry about it.
I was gonna make that joke. Yeah.
So thank you everyone for listening.
That explains the bills I keep getting. Yeah.
But hey, I put you on the Christmas card list, so that needs to count for something, doesn't it?
Yeah. I should be on the Christmas card.
Next year I'll Photoshop your face in. I'll put you over Dylan.
Funny.
Dylan's my least favorite.
Yeah.
Fucking Dylan.
I hate Dylan.
He's the worst. He really is the worst, isn't he?
Absolute worst. He's like 42. He's older than me. He's way older than me.
It's so silly
how you adopted him.
Bureaucracy, man. They let you get away with all sorts of crazy stuff over here in Scotland. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Gloth. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your cat. And remember, if you want to hear more imaginary TV shows like today's Solarpunk, be here next week. We'll have a new show for you to imagine and enjoy. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.